up in the news today, the coronavirus death toll exceeded 1,000. Kazakh government has reported its readiness to combat the infection. No cheat sheets, smartphones, or substitute test takers. Starting this year, artificial intelligence will be used to monitor students during exam. Dexterity of beak and wings was tested at the competition of golden eagles in the East Kazakhstan region. There are no confirmed cases of coronavirus in Kazakhstan, said Minister of Healthcare Yelzhan Birtanov at a government session in Nur-Sultan. He said that the ministry continues to conduct active prevention work. Intensive sanitary checks are being carried out at the border with China. In addition, people arriving from China are monitored at their place of residence prior to the closure of airspace with the neighboring country. The Healthcare Ministry reported its readiness to combat the potential coronavirus infection in Kazakhstan. Nearly 5,000 beds have been additionally allocated to hospitals in the country. Medical face masks and devices as well as disinfectants have been purchased.
Сегодня ночью усилиями казахстанских дипломатов в Китае из Китайской Народной Республики был...
Last night, 217 citizens of Kazakhstan were evacuated from 36 Chinese cities with the efforts of the country's diplomats in China. The evacuees are mainly students who are in China for a temporary period. On February 12, we plan to send another plane to China to evacuate more than 100 people from Kazakhstan. In addition, upon China's request, we also brought 45 Chinese nationals back to their country on the flight last night. All of our citizens who reside and remain in China can contact the hotline of our embassy. We try to maintain contact with all of our citizens abroad.
Все граждане Казахстана, которые находятся на территории Китая, могут обращаться туда. Мы стараемся со всеми поддерживать контакт.
The death toll from coronavirus reached 1,016. The number of confirmed cases has exceeded 42,500. President of China Xi Jinping visited residential area and hospital in Beijing today in order to observe the situation in the city. He wore a protective medical mask during his visit. A nurse measured his temperature. Xi Jinping talked to local residents and held a video conference with employees of hospital for terminally ill patients in Wuhan.
信心百倍地打好这一场阻击战。
We must fight this virus with confidence and unity. We must believe that we will win this battle. On behalf of the Central Committee of the Communist Party, I express my deepest respect and sincere gratitude to you and all of the health workers who are fighting this epidemic. Meanwhile, World Health Organization is concerned about the spread of coronavirus around the world, especially among the patients who did not visit China.
In recent days, we have seen some concerning instances of onward transmission from people with no travel history to China, like the cases reported in France yesterday and the United Kingdom today. The detection of this small number of cases could be the spark that becomes a bigger fire. But for now, it's only a spark. Our objective remains containment.
In Brussels, the European Commissioner for Crisis Management, Janez Lenarčič, declared that the EU has evacuated more than 500 citizens from China. The European Commission continues to communicate with Chinese authorities in order to provide the necessary assistance and to further overcome the spread of the disease.
Yes, China made it known that it would need personal protective equipment like gloves, protective masks and protective gowns. And we are in the process of mapping the capacities that the European Union member states can offer, and we will arrange such a provision of such assistance to China. Some of it has already was already sent to China, about 12 tons from Germany.
President of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, have instructed for the need to attract more foreign investors to the country's geological exploration, said Minister of Ecology, Geology and Natural Resources Makhzum Mirzagaliev. The minister said that the draft document that was prepared, taking into account public opinion and best practices of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development member countries, was submitted to the parliament for consideration. President Tokayev noted on the need for a detailed analysis of all aspects of water security in the country in order to develop an appropriate program. Chairperson of Kazakh Parliament Senate, Dariga Nazarbayeva, held a meeting with representatives of World Bank. The parties discussed various topics which involved the prospective areas of cooperation during the meeting. They have agreed to continue negotiations on long-term forecasting of economic processes, analysis of current statistics and research programs. The World Bank Director for Central Asia, Lilia Burunchuk, highlighted the importance of conducting research on the results of tax reform in Kazakhstan, as well as a study on the effectiveness of tax benefits. Meanwhile, Dariga Nazarbayeva noted that the improvement of the country's economy is under the purview of the Senate.
Kazakhstan's GDP growth amounted to 3.6% in January, Kazakh Minister of National Economy Ruslan Dalenov reported. The minister said that basic sectors of the national economy also started the year with good results. Thus, the growth has been observed in following sectors. In construction, there is 12.5% growth. In infrastructure, the 5.2% increase. And in agriculture, almost 3% growth. The Kazakh minister reported that investments in fixed assets increased by more than 3%.
Investment growth in Uzbekistan. Experts in the neighboring country reported that the investment volume in 2019 grew to 58.9% compared to 2018. Foreign investors mainly invested in large state projects such as construction of chemical, gas processing complexes and thermal power plants. Investments are also made in development of mineral resources fields. 102 Kyrgyz enterprises are involved in the Register of Manufacturers list, which enabled them to export their products to the Eurasian Economic Union countries. Most of the enterprises specialized in harvesting and marketing of honey, as well as in production of meat and dairy. Kazakh Ministry of Agriculture plans to reduce a high number of imported products into the country in 4 years. Apple orchards are planned to be created on 2,000 hectares of land in Kazakhstan. The country consumes 80% of the main types of food products, and it also has surpluses of food. High-demand food products, but with low supply in the country, are apples, sausages, various cheese, sugar, and poultry. These products are imported from abroad in order to meet the local demand. Bishkek hosted a robotics competition among children who develop, construct and test robots. More than 100 talented students from various schools took part in the event. They were asked to perform complex tasks which involved developing software for the robots apart from creating them. We named our robot Sumo. We designed it with our friends. I took part in the robotics competitions for 6 times and won prizes in 5 of the events. Many Kyrgyz children are interested in robotics. Special classes have been opened for them in all regions of the country. A lot of people are passionate about robotics. The number of students interested in robots increases every day. They recognize the usefulness of this area. Such competitions contribute to the development of educational and sports robotics in the country. It also encourages the younger generation to have interest in technology, engineering, and innovation. Artificial intelligence will be used to monitor students during the high school graduation examination in Kazakhstan. The system can identify the usage of smartphones and cheat sheets during the exam, and it can also recognize substitute test taker. The Ministry of Education and Science plans to introduce the AI pilot project this year. Kazakhstan will complete its transition to digital monitoring system in 2021. Students will begin taking tests in electronic format.
Принцип один тестируемый, одна камера.
The model of one test taker, one camera in computer-based tests has been introduced. This reduces the expenses of business trips of the examiners and ensures a complete monitoring of each student during examination. We have a huge amount of video data of how students took the exam. We can use the data for proof in controversial cases.
Мы можем доказать тот или иной факт.
The high school graduation exam in 169 centers in Kazakhstan will be live-streamed this year. A total of 115,000 students will undertake the exam in 2020.
International Traveling Exhibition in Two Worlds was held at the Eurasian National University in the capital of Kazakhstan. The event showcased centuries-old history, traditions and customs, social activities, as well as the modern life of German communities in 25 countries. Organizers said that the event has made a positive impact on the preservation and popularization of German language by maintaining the identity of German communities living around the world.
Есть ассоциация обществ немцев.
There is a European Association of German Societies. Our society, Revival, is part of it as well. There is a big association of societies that collected the materials from each country and show how Germans live in more than 20 countries in European and post-Soviet Union countries. The event has connected the relations between the countries. The connection is an important aspect of the relationships. Recently, President of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, has made his first visit to Germany, which is his first official visit to Europe. Naturally, the events of the visit are also showcased at the exhibition. This shows the important aspect of our interstate relations.
Уже присутствовал в переговорах. Поэтому это важный аспект наших межгосударственных отношений.
Organizers said that the modern format of the interactive exhibition displayed several thematic areas, which includes the hard lives of deported families as well as the modern life of Germans. Photos from theater festivals, concerts and German cultural days are presented at the event.
Wir haben uns in dieser Ausstellung
The mission of the exhibition is to show the similarity of German minorities living in different countries. The main reason why Germans migrated to Kazakhstan was due to the deportation in 1941, where along with them other minority groups were also deported. The exhibition reflects today's life of other German ethnic minorities living in 25 countries and how they preserve the traditions, culture and language.
die sogenannte Deportation.
In Two Worlds exhibition in Nur-Sultan will be held until February 21st, and it will be presented in Bishkek. Republican competitions of tamers of golden eagles were dedicated to the 175th anniversary of Abai. The traditional competition took place in homeland of the great poet in the East Kazakhstan region. Nearly 60 hunters from the country's 13 regions gathered at the championship, including 11-year-old resident of Nur-Sultan, Yerasul Serikbekulu. I was 7 or 8 when I started taming the hunting birds. My first bird was a Seika falcon. When I grew up, I began taming bigger birds. Various skills were assessed, including techniques of summoning a bird, dexterity, and the speed of hunting for a rabbit and a fox. The last test, which is hunting for a wolf, was the most spectacular. Only the best birds can cope with this task. My golden eagle's name is Aigaitas. It is 4 years old. The bird took part at several competitions. It won in this competition as well. We gain skills of training birds from the older generation. Many people are passionate about breeding and training predator birds at the moment.
Біздің облыста 560
Nearly 560 events are planned to the anniversary of Abai in the region. 118 events will take place in the homeland of the poet. Therefore, we think that such competitions are quite educational for the younger generation. The event that we are holding as part of the 7 facets of the Great Step article is necessary in order to preserve these traditions.